Bare soils and slopes without proper plant cover are highly susceptible to erosion. Sediment resulting from erosion is the leading cause of water body impairment and pollution. Sediment destroys fish spawning beds, reduces useful storage volumes in reservoirs, and increases filtration costs for municipal water supplies. Pesticides and nutrients such as nitrogen and phosphorus combine with sediments and be moved by running water. A healthy stand of turf and/or other landscape plants can help to control erosion and reduce runoff, but must be properly established and maintained to protect water quality. I'm Dr. DeBusk, and this video will discuss best management practices for the design and installation of landscapes. It is important to design the landscape before installing the irrigation system. This allows the irrigation system to be designed to meet the needs of the plants instead of the other way around. In many communities, construction and design documents and permits require the signature and seal of a design professional. To protect the public, landscape architects and professional engineers are licensed by the state. Contact your local authorities if you are not sure what is required. For more information on landscape architecture, see the website address shown here. Or to learn more about engineering services, go to the bottom address. The long-term value of a landscape depends on how well it performs for its particular objectives. Performance is often directly related to matching a site's characteristics and a client's desires with plant requirements. Therefore, the first step in selecting plants for a landscape is to conduct a site evaluation, which may consist of studying plant site characteristics such as the amount of sun or shade, salt, spray exposure, soil type, pH, soil compaction, slope, and water drainage. These characteristics will most likely differ between areas on the same property. For example, the area on one side of a structure may have significantly different light conditions than an area on the other side. Construction activities may have produced severe compaction, and non-native soils may have been used as fill in some areas. Such soils may need aeration or amendment to be suitable for planting. The second step is to select plants with attributes that match the characteristics of the planting site. The design professional should always provide the owner with a drawing identifying each plant or bed and the recommended irrigation requirements. For more information, see UF-IFAS Circular 536, Basic Principles of Landscape Design, at the address shown here. In 2004, the Florida legislature created a statute directing the Department of Environmental Protection, the water management districts, and several stakeholder groups to devise standards for landscape irrigation and Florida-friendly landscape design. Local governments must use these standards when adopting local ordinances after that date. Florida-friendly landscape design standards state low-impact site design practices such as preserving existing native trees and vegetation shall be used if feasible. Where established natural vegetation is incorporated into the landscape design, irrigation of those areas shall not be required. The plant palette and irrigation system shall be appropriate for site conditions, taking into account that, in some cases, soil improvement can enhance water use efficiency. Plants shall be grouped together by irrigation demand. The percentage of landscaped area in irrigated high water use hydrozones should be minimized. Local government ordinances shall address the percentage of irrigated landscape area that may be included in high water use hydrozones. These high water use limits should not apply to landscaped areas requiring large amounts of turf for their primary functions, for example, ball fields and playgrounds. Florida law defines the 9 principles of Florida-friendly landscaping to include 1. Planting the right plant in the right place, 2. Efficient watering, 3. Appropriate fertilization, 4. Mulching, 5. Attracting wildlife, 6. Responsible management of yard pests, 7. Recycling yard waste, 8. Reduction of stormwater runoff, and 9. Waterfront protection. Additional components of Florida-friendly landscape include planning and design, soil analysis, the use of solid waste compost, practical use of turf, and proper maintenance. The plants selected should be suited to the characteristics of the site that were determined during an earlier site analysis. Good landscape design requires that plants serve particular functions. They should reduce cooling and heating costs and improve the appearance or usefulness of the landscape. Plants should be selected and positioned to provide a transition between the structure and the landscape, a screen for privacy, shade for comfort, and wildlife habitat, or to direct traffic flow onto and within the property. Select plants that will not outgrow their allotted space. Even though smaller cultivars of landscape plants may take longer to reach the desirable size, they will not have to be pruned as frequently and are less likely to need replacing in a few years. See the website address shown here for more information on individual plants. Before digging the hole, 1. Remove all soil from above the topmost root. And 2. Measure the distance between the topmost root and the bottom of the root ball. Dig the hole about 10% shallower than this depth and as wide as possible, at least 1.5 times the width of the ball and even wider in compacted soils. The root ball should be positioned in this hole shallowly enough so that the finished grade of the backfill soil and landscape soil is lower than the top of the root ball. In other words, leave the upper portion of the sides of the root ball exposed to the air. Then apply mulch so that it covers the sides of the root ball. Be sure that when you are finished planting, there is no soil and little to no mulch over the top of the root ball. Soil as well as thick mulch layers more than 3 or 4 inches deep over the root ball can prevent water and air from entering the root ball. When finished planting, you should be able to see the topmost root in the root ball originating from the trunk at the soil surface. In other words, the trunk flare, root flare, should be visible. Soil should be packed firmly between the root ball and existing soil to eliminate air pockets where roots can dry out. Air pockets can be removed when planting large specimens by inserting a running hose between the root ball soil interface several times until all the soil settles around the root ball. Even the healthiest landscape plants installed in the most ideal circumstances may need a substantial amount of time, care, and proper irrigation to become established. During the establishment period, the roots are expanding out into the landscape soil, and the shoots and trunk grow more slowly than they did before transplanting. In most instances, established, drought-tolerant landscape plants have a root system substantial enough to keep them alive with little or no supplemental irrigation. Establishment occurs more rapidly when irrigation is supplied in the correct quantity and frequency. In addition to requiring special attention to irrigation, during their establishment period, trees benefit from mulching and may require staking or guying. Pruning and fertilizing may also benefit landscape plants while they are becoming established. For more information, see the following publications.